Hooah! Here we are. Hi, everybody. How you doing? It's time for the final hour of trading today. Here it is, Monday, March 6th, 2023. I'm back for more fun. How you doing, everybody? Nice to see you here. The markets have definitely given up some ground. No doubt about that. Our friends at the Dow, they hit the high day of the day here at the 33,572, right around 1219 Eastern. So from 33,572, we're now down to 33,402. That's 170 points. And that puts us within 5 points of the low of the day. Yeah, that's a give back. I mean, that's this morning's opening here, and then we topped right out. Look at that little Mount Everest we had there. All of a sudden, that came back, and now even worse. So here we are here. Jay Powell is speaking tomorrow. So the market is figuring out, oh God, 24 hours from now, we could really be in a pickle here, depending on how this goes. This could be nasty. Well, we'll find out. GameStop is at 1890, holding a 20-cent gain. It did touch GameStop 1950, just around 11 this morning. 60 cents has been given back now. Got down to 1853, so lost almost $1. The volume was on GameStop 2.2 million today, so that's 550,000 pre-split. Really quiet. SoFi 671 right now, down a penny. Did any of you were any of you able to write options this morning when it hit the high of 697? It hit almost $7 today, around 10:30, and then it just gave it all back like the market. I don't know if any of you were able to do it. Tesla 195.68 down 210. It started nice. Like the stock started okay today. It started at around 198 range. Was actually up just like a titch. Then it was into that 196.7 range, and then around noonish when this Dow thing happened, when it went, got down to 192.30 for the session. That was the low of the day. So from 196 to 192. Right now, 195.68, sort of about a third of the way. Now, not quite at halfway point today, I guess. It's not a bad day today. It's not like we have a bloodbath on our hands. We just had a lot of momentum go, just like, wow, yeah, well, we're done. Apple is up 302 at $154. It got up to 156 and just giving it back. That's the thing. And this is the thing about tomorrow with Jay Powell. What's he going to say? What could Jay Powell possibly say tomorrow that's going to make the market have a wonderful time for the rest of the week? Nothing. There's nothing he can say. He has no ammo with which to bring to the Congress to say everything's great. Oh yeah, it's just wonderful. Now he has inflationary tendencies. We haven't gone through the entire inflation cycle yet. We've only just begun. Wage increases are just now coming into the economic equation. They're going to be severe. The shortage of workers is no question is massive, and we're going to have higher rates for quite a while, and they're going to go higher. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and there's no growth spurt coming from somewhere else. My title of my show, housing sales are down, Tesla cuts prices. Hey, does Tesla sell cars to unemployed people? No. Does Tesla sell cars to families just starting out? No. Tesla sells vehicles to nicely employed folks with capital, dollars, or access to capital. And when Tesla starts cutting prices of their top-end cars, the Model S, the Model X, which are the two fastest vehicles in their class, and for the money, unbelievably bargainish, they start to cut prices on those. That's a sign. I wouldn't want to be a Bugatti dealer right now. The Bugatti guys have really got to be running into problems. You may have noticed if any of you go out on Zillow.com, you take a look at Zillow, and then you look at houses in your area where you live, or around town, and then you look at sort of the nice part of town, the nice part of the cities you live in. You look at how those, how much of the, you'll notice more and more and more and more homes, especially the higher priced homes, price cuts, price cuts, price cuts. You'll see where they were listed at, you know, uh, I'll pick a number, $935,000, and then it's a price cut to 899, and then it's a price cut to 869. I noticed it here. There's a condo just up the road here. There's two for sale about 8 away from us. One was asking 525, and the other was 519. Oh, the one that was 519 is now 499, and something tells me 450 will get it. It'll be 70,000 less easily than what they asked for originally when it goes, because the buyers, unless you have cash, you're not able to get it as easily as you think. You might have 75,000 down, 15% down. You're going to have a tough time getting a mortgage. And the mortgage you're being offered, the interest rate might be too high for you to swallow that payment. These are second homes down here, not necessarily primary homes. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, watch for that in your neighborhood on Zillow. See what the housing prices looks like. Are you noticing car dealership lots filling up in your town here and there, or not? I suspect that more and more you're noticing more and more cars slowly coming in. Cars and trucks and SUVs and vans and blah, blah, blah. I bet you RV dealership lots, your local RV dealers, I bet you you're seeing more inventory at RV dealers than you've seen in probably 2 years, because the wave of new RVers going RV, with the pandemic, and we're just going to travel as a family in our own unit. That's over. That's come and gone. And I bet you there are now more RVs for sale, used RVs that are only, I bet you, 2 years old, 3 years old. You'd be shocked at how many are for sale already. Folks have done that. They did their 1 and 2 year little thing, or liked it, didn't like it, hated it, and now they want out. And here come the new ones competing with the used ones. Down goes the market, and recession is here. Was that what that means? That's my question. Is the recession already here in the United States? We just aren't calling it a recession yet. Is this thing about Target not hitting their sales numbers, and Amazon, having issues, Walmart, companies like Costco talking about lower Christmas sales this year, other retailers talking about margins not looking so good. Is this the recession? Best Buy last week. Best Buy, just last week. Are we already in it? And we will officially have measured it in the next 2 or 3 months from now. It'll be measured, and we'll say, oh yeah, 3 months ago we entered a recession. Yeah, just letting you know, the numbers are now out, and it looks like back in January of 2023 we entered the recession. Well, this is March. Are we there? Are you seeing it where you live? Are you seeing signs, evidence of just little things of recession? Not necessarily a hiring recession. It's not like you can't find a job if you need a job, but you might not be able to find a job you want for what you're capable of doing, depending on I don't know. Depends on where you live. It might be a regional thing and not a whatever thing. Interesting, isn't it? Thank you all for joining me today and being here. It's great to have you. Thank you for these thumbs ups already. You're all wonderful. I appreciate it. Let's see what's going on. Charlie asked me a good question, because again, Charlie, thank you for. I think the other day you sent me an email, I think, and you asked me to kind of review this SEC filing, and you're wondering about what's going on. And I it was on ATIP, and apparently there's a I'm going to try to explain this in plain English, because I don't quite fully understand everything there is to know about life. But On the surface, when ATIP took over Fortress Investment, whatever it was, and changed its name to ATIP, became a public company through that SPAC merger, there had to be share transfers done and registered and stuff. And the ATIP management feels they'd done everything they had to do. The SEC cleared everything it looked like. They went through all the garbage that the SEC threw at every single SPAC trying to do their reverse takeover. They got through all that. And now there's some sort of a question as to whether all the paperwork was filed correctly and whether all the shares outstanding are legitimately outstanding. And Again, I just don't have 15 hours to read a zillion pages of legals. I'm just not going there. Anyway, there's something coming up in the next week or two, some kind of an emergency quick hearing of some kind to get a final ruling from a judge to certify that everything is above board and fine and everything's okay. I think it's technical. Again, I don't know. And I don't think it's going to make a damn bit of difference except cost ATIP legal money and lawyers and whatever. There'll be winners, lawyers, losers, shareholders, because the company has to spend money to do some legal filings and need a ruling and it's crap. This is what just kills so much business. This is not a company killer. This is not going to stop ATIP from being in business. It's not going to close any locations. It's not going to change their listing status. They have to have a separate shareholder vote, I think, to maintain their listing on the New York Stock Exchange. I think, personally, they're going to go to the New York Stock Exchange. They're going to appeal to the New York Stock Exchange for an extension to allow the company to have a shareholder vote to authorize a rollback of stock. That's what I think they're going to do. That's my best guess. Now, what is that going to be? Does it mean that if you own 1,000 shares of ATIP today, that 3 months from now you're going to own 100 ATIP tomorrow at that time? And does it mean that the stock, which is 33 cents today, is going to trade at $3.30 a share down the road, but you have 1/10 the shares? Guess how much money that makes to you? Zero difference. Theoretically, if they did a 20-to-1, you would have a $6.60 price per stock, but you'd only have 50 shares if you have 1,000 now. If you have 10,000 now, you'd have 1/20th. You'll have 500 shares. If the stock is trading at $6.60 or $6 or $6.50 or whatever, theoretically, you could write an option on your 500 shares. If you have 10,000 ATIP now and you have 500 ATIP tomorrow, next month, next quarter, you could write 5 calls against your ATIP. You could write 5 750s or 5 7s or whatever option expiries or values are out there. You could get 50 cents a share, 80 cents a share, $1 a share. I don't know. Depends on how far out you want to go. Use that money to do whatever you want. You want to buy more ATIP shares at $6.30 or $6, average down if that's what you're ultimately doing, to write more, whatever. If you have 500 shares and they do a 5-for-1 or 10-for-1 rollback, you're going to have 50 shares. You're not going to have enough to even write a contract. That's all I know. That's all I got. That's all I can guess. That's all I can speculate on. Is the only way these guys can get their share price over $1 would be to roll back shares. And the smartest way to do that, the most effective way, is reduce the stock count by 90%. Do a 10-for-1 rollback. That's effective. You could go 100-to-1, but I'd go 10-to-1. Here's the thing to remember, though. If they did that, all right, if they were to do that, here's the result. Right now, as we're speaking here, there are 207 million shares in existence for ATIP, and there are 72 million that float publicly. This is one of the smallest public floated companies out there, trading at 35 cents a share. There is no one jumping on this bandwagon right now. And apparently 4.8 million are short-sailed, according to MarketWatch's latest statistics. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. If they did a 10-for-1 rollback, okay, 10-for-1 reverse stock split, there would only be 20 million shares outstanding, and there would only be 7.2 million publicly traded. All right. And if they're trading at $3 a share, $3.20 a share, $3.50 a share, somewhere in that neighborhood, anyone trying to pick up a couple 100,000 shares would run that market, because there's nothing to stop that stock. I mean, there is no 1 billion share block of shares for sale out there. I mean, I just don't think so. Just a this is just me with a hunch and whatever. I'm just trying to understand it all. In any event, if they did a 20-for-1 rollback, which I would find impossible to believe, but if they were to do this, they would then only have 10 million shares outstanding and 700,000 shares. No, they'd have 10 million outstanding, and they'd have 14 million free float or something. No, 1.4 million free. I can't even do the math anymore. It is so ridiculous. It would be really a tiny float, and I am just befuddled as to what they're up to and how they're doing it. I mean, I don't think about it every single minute of every day, but once a day it crosses my mind. What are they going to do with this? Like, how are they going to play with this? I don't know. Anyway, ATIP, 33 cents a share, 950 centers. They are hiring staff desperately. Can't keep up with the business, and their stock is 35 cents. And whoever owns the majority of this stock, and I don't know who this actually is, I'd have to do some digging there, seems to be quite comfortable letting it do what it does. I would not be comfortable. If I were a large shareholder of this company, I would be very uncomfortable, and I'd really be upset. And my board of directors, or I'd take over the board of directors if I had the votes, I'd be making changes. But whoever and whatever that is, I don't know what to think. So do I end up talking to the investor relations people eventually someday? Maybe, but I don't think they can talk to me right now because of pending legal issues, and their pending financial releases, and the pending New York Stock Exchange rulings and whatever. I mean, there's a lot going on here, and I don't know if they're in a position to speak publicly at the moment. I have no idea. Securities lawyers may be telling him, keep quiet. You can't say anything. It's the blackout period. You have to keep quiet right now. I don't know. 33.21 cents a share last trade, down 1.5 cents. Volume today, 293,000, as far as I can tell you. Anyway, that's all I know. That's it. That's all I got. I wish I had more. The Dow's up 4 points. Okay, so the Dow isn't going to help us today. Not on ATIP. No. GameStop, 1875, down what nickel or so, or give or take. And here we are, just kind of coming to the end of the day here with an hour to go. 3-point gain on the Dow, 1.5 on S&P, down 9 on NASDAQ. All positive momentum evaporated. And I was telling you this morning, I was speculating this morning, do you think what might happen is we have an opening and then we kind of piddle it out, and by the end of the day we get a nothing burger? That's what it looks like to me, because guess who speaks tomorrow? Mr. Excitement. Yeah, here we go. Get ready. Don't worry about strapping in your seatbelt. You're not going on a roller coaster ride tomorrow anyway. There it is. Yeah, for Charlie C, I'm with you. Just wait it out. Just wait it out. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'd be doing. I'd just be waiting it out. There's too much dough inside this entity for it to go away. It's in far better shape than a lot of other companies out there. It's just a stock that is just not it's not trading very much. And boy, I'd like to see that change. I really would. Okay. That is all I can say at the moment. If I could say more, I would. But I am not qualified to really do that. Folks, thank you for popping in to see me. Thank you for these thumbs ups. I appreciate it. We're going to go right now to member comments only. Please become a member of this channel if you dare, and join the greatest family of YouTubers there is, the members of this channel. And please comment away. And thank you all for being part of the channel here. I love you guys. Much appreciated. All right, let's get that done over there, and let's go over here. We have 67 thumbs ups. This is awesome. We always strive for at least 100 thumbs ups in the afternoon show. We're 2/3 of the way there already. Thank you, everybody, for helping out on that. That is good stuff. Okay, Credit Savage saying, okay, I sold 10 $27 AI puts that expire March 17. No, I bought them this morning for 155. I got 220 for them just now. So easy money. I'll do it again tomorrow on the morning pop before you know who speaks. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Constantine, 62 thumbs ups. Thank you, Uncle Bruce. Thank you, my friends. Appreciate it. And George Sebastian says that you can't shut me out anymore. I'm a member now, so I can comment. And right on, pal. Great. I'm glad you're here. Hey, welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Absolutely. I can only say thank you to all of you for being here today and every day. And all I can do is just encourage the stocks to do what they should do for you and hit some of the knee emojis. And hopefully, knee, the power of knee from the Knights of Knee will make markets do what you need them to do and have your stocks go where you want them to go. Giddy up, everybody, and welcome to the party, pals. Knee. JR's in on it. There we go. It's official. JR's hit the knee buttons, and that means it's starting. Here we go. Knee. There you go. The Big E's here. Hi there. Fantastic. The other day, it was kind of funny. We were out the other night, and um, we had a lovely dinner the other night. A couple of folks who watched the channel, and uh, one of them said, "Yeah, I kind of hope that my spouse doesn't walk by the room where I'm watching you when you have the knee attacks because I'm yelling knee," and the spouse looks in and goes, "What the hell are you watching? What's going on over there?" So I have to put the sound on mute so that Bruce's neat doesn't reverberate all over the house. So that's pretty cool. I call that I call that a success. DQ curling. And DQ goes, whoops, no, not curling. Neat. Yeah, I need a new type of shrubbery. That's what we need here. George, DQ, well, we all know that was a shout out to Jen right there. Yep, she's watching curling right now. The men's curling is on. The Canadian Championships, the Briar, they call it, is on. It is on. Absolutely. Zeta State is in the house. Neat. All righty. Well, we're up 14 on New York, the Dow, up 2 on the S&P, down 7 on NASDAQ. That's where we're at. Oil is up 86 cents, turned around to $80.54 in Texas. Even though China won't need any great amount of additional oil because their future estimates of growth are way down. I don't know what to make of it. We need a herring emoji, says DQ. That's what we need. We need a herring emoji. Interesting. Zed, I'm the 69 thumbs up. Financial Missive. This has been the slowest trading that I've had in a very long time. Slowest trading, neighbors. Bought 1.6 shares of IBM, and I did what? I don't know. A single GameStop contract rolled and went from May 11/25 to September 14 on the pop. Giddy up, Constantine. Okay, Bruce. I rolled 19 GameStop contracts at the pop today. May 20's $20 contracts at 238 into June 21's 254. Nice move. Carlos, I missed you, Uncle Bruce. I have to go in the office next Thursday for a work video shoot. My work is trying to promote employment positions since we have lost employees in my department. I see. George, nice going, Zed. I'm not sure what this is. Carlos, video and employment recruiting is at its best or worst. My company is desperate. Isn't that interesting? Financial, I didn't bring in premium on this roll, but a raise led my strike 275. Gave myself a bunch more time, all for 157. Right on. Coyote Financial Mischief, it has been slow, but good work on that roll. I thought I wrote deep in the money, but you put me to shame. That's some brass good stuff. There you go, everybody. Well done. If you can move up in time, bring in more money, and move up and strike at the same time, that's a double win. I say, well done every time. Anyway, yeah, autocorrect. Blah. I raised my strike. He says, there you go. You sure did. And that's one big thing. People underestimate moving up and strike all the time. You move up $1 or $2 and strike. That's $100 to $200 to you potentially per contract. And you deal with 20 contracts at a time. You move up $1 and strike on 20 contracts. That's $2,000 more to you. Move up $2, 4,000 more to you. That's important, apart from raising extra cash. Absolutely. There you go. Let's see. Thank you. Well done, everybody. Keep up the good work over there. The Dow's up 1.5 on this device, down 7.5 on that device. So that's where the Dow is. Nowhere good. And now we're off like 3 points. So we've got GameStop at 1876, up 6 cents. The high today, 1950. The low of 1852. So it's a 98-cent move today. That's all. Down 5 points, 6 points on the Dow, down only up a fifth of a point on the S&P, down 13 on NASDAQ. So the markets have definitely gone to the red side, but not like terribly bad. It's just a slippage to the negative. Hey, Maria Powell, get a number 75 thumbs up. I'm popping in to say hello and give you a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Maria. And I appreciate that. Gayati, I'm guessing the general vibe is down. Is a down day tomorrow with Powell? Well, depends. I mean, this market is so goofy and loony, and there are so many stupid analysts in New York with one-liners that will just try to get the attention. They'll try to get promotion. They'll try to get coverage. I mean, don't bet the farm. Just kind of go with the flow. Let's see what happens, and not to worry about it. SoFi unchanged. Tesla now 339 lower, 194.40. Apple 153.91 up 288. HPQ down 7. ATIP down 1.5 cents. Google up 172. Moderna is only up 60 cents now. Cisco down a penny. Pfizer down 14. IBM up 18 cents. It's a nothing burger day here. ME down 11. Matterport down 4. Cyxtera down 7. Rocket Lab down 16 again. SmartRent down 4. Spire down 8. Bed Bath Beyond down 8. Amazon down 61 cents. Home Depot down 57 cents. I mean, these are penny moves on $100 stocks. Yeah, not much to get all worked up over. We just have to tolerate the headlines, tolerate the reaction to Powell, and just kind of keep on going. Keep an eye on this market, see how this market is, this economy. Keep an eye on this economy, see how this economy reacts, and where strength is and where weakness is, and kind of go from there. Yeah, that's it. Biden's budget comes next week. What it means for the debt ceiling fight in stocks. People think it's Biden's budget. The White House will propose a budget. The Congress and the Senate have to work out the details. At the moment, the do nothing and the clowns in the House of Representatives, the Republicans leading this thing. The kind of cuts they want, the kind of cuts in dollars that they want cut out of the budget. Pardon me, folks. The kind of money they want to cut out of the budget means a 70% reduction in Social Security, Medicare, 70% reduction in entitlements, education, across the board, like without any other exemptions. 70% off, and that'll balance the budget. They're not interested in balancing the budget by cutting military, which is the easiest area you could go to because it's humongous. Not going to happen. And they're not interested in raising any extra money. They don't want to raise taxes on anybody because they're Republicans. So they want it all coming from spending cuts, knowing that they don't have to make the decisions to actually do it because they're only 1/3 of the 3 components of passing a bill. So they want the Senate and the White House to look bad by coming to the American people, quote unquote, saying, we proposed a sound budget to the American people, and these two governments just won't do. These two branches of government just don't want to listen to sound reasoning. And of course, the Democrats are going, well, we're kind of finding that Republican seniors and Democratic seniors, they may not see eye to eye on policy, but they do see the same kind of dollar signs and figures behind a security check, a Social Security check. And when a deposit is made into your account for so many dollars every month, they look at that and go, is that more than last month or is that less than last month? And if a senior were to receive 30% on the dollar on Social Security, the senior will call their children and go, hey, did you know that this happened to me? And me being your grandmother or grandfather, they will call their friends, they will call their politicians, and there will be hell to pay because seniors vote. Very, very much so. They vote. They have the time to do that. The Republicans are just slitting their own throats by calling on seniors to get slashed by 70% on pensions. And you think they know that, but I know they do know that sort of, but they're not acknowledging it because they don't think they're going to get the blame. They'd rather play the, well, we proposed cuts and the Democrats just wouldn't play ball on any of them. They'd rather play that card than actually realistically try to work something out. Uh, to me, you want to balance your U.S. budget, raise more money. That's the easy way to do it. You want to keep spending where it is and not cut anybody, then raise more. Find ways to do it. One way is to spur the economy on and make it grow, and then more taxes are paid. You see, the government always collects taxes on a growing economy rather than a shrinking economy. So that's just old school. What can I say? The thing too about the deficit, and I've said this before, we've had deficit spending now since about the 80s. There was a little break in the 90s when Clinton was president, where the budget went surplus for a few years. That's when the father George Bush, when his policies kicked in the second year of the Clinton presidency, in the third year, that's when the budget debt went positive. This is supposed to be George Bush, the father's second term. During his second term, in the second, third, and fourth year, he was supposed to leave the presidential White House with a surplus, see. But it was Clinton that got this surplus in the second, third, and fourth year of his presidency, which ran into the fifth and sixth years. And the U.S. Treasury stopped issuing 30-year Treasury notes because they didn't need the money. They didn't need to raise 30-year notes anymore because they had a surplus. So they only raised 10-year notes, 5-year notes, and 2-year notes, not 30-year notes anymore. But don't worry, it all got brought back to normal when George Bush, the son, came into the White House and immediately cut taxes like a wild man. And good old deficit spending came back into America, just like the good old days, like we used to under Reagan. Anyway, the record deficits that Ronald Reagan handed to George Bush Sr., who had to deal with them, those were $1988, $1985. They're not $2023, you see? So all is well. Everything's fine. If you go back 30 years now from today, this is 2023. This goes back to 1993. You see, we've paid off Ronald Reagan's debts. All that's been paid for. The American people have paid off all of the deficits from Nixon to Ford to Carter to Reagan, and now George Bush Sr.'s debts slowly being paid out because they're past 30 years. Now, the reality, of course, is governments really don't pay off debt. They roll it over. They just issue new debt today at today's dollars with higher inflation, you see. And they'll raise $1 billion this week to pay off $500 million in government debts from 30 years ago that they've been paying interest on all this time. And then they add $500 billion to that $500 billion and add that to the deficit spending and keep writing checks, knowing that, 30 years from now, in 2053, the U.S. government will be issuing 30-year bonds that will pay off 2023 and all the years behind it off. So all the war spending has been done from the Second World War. All the Korean War spending has been done. All the Vietnam monies that were spent has been carried or rolled over, all the way through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and here we are. It's all fine. It's all good. Nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. And as long as the world doesn't say we're not buying any more U.S. bonds, then there's nothing to worry about. As long as the rest of the world wants debt from the American people, they feel that the American people are good for it, the American government can keep issuing bonds. And it's just one happy time. It's an absolute happy day and happy way. So what's to worry about? Zach, has the market always been this goofy and loony, or is it the fault of the new breed of traders? Well, Zach, I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you're talking about, loony and goofy and whatever. Um, uh, but I will say that as a 20, when I turned 21 in 1976 and 75, 76, and thereafter in my so-called adult years, the world is just as goofy now as it was then. There's really no difference except the fashions and the kind of cars we drive. Anyway, there you hope we have. Uh, man, the U.S. is inching closer to World War III. Why would they cut the defense budget? It's one of the greatest employers in America. It's fantastic. As long as countries around the world have militaries and they all want to buy stuff from the U.S. military, life is good. I mean, if they're not buying from the U.S. military, they're buying from the U.S. military machine that gets permission from Congress to sell weaponry to other countries. As long as that's allowed, there'll be jobs in America for many, 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 many more years. Anyway, a financial mischief, Gowdy. I'm off about 1,300 on the tens I wrote, but I'm still up 21,000 on them right now. So one 10,000% dare someone to assign me. Okay, take me out. Damn, I've been mostly writing 15 to 17 strikes on GameStop. Larry Titus, good afternoon. I'm number 83. Thank you, sir. 24 minutes to go. Financial mischief. Good. I'm done writing as aggressively as I have, and I'm working up all of my strike prices to get to where I want to be with my rights. So those tens are all are full downside protection for my leaps. Financial mischief until I buy them all back in time. George, I've been selling 18s and 20s. Zach, thanks, of course. This is the goofiness I can believe in. I can believe in this goofiness. Yeah, it's always been goofy. Yeah. Uh, the world has been is an amazing place, and uh, you know, you grow up as a child and a teenager and an adult, and you think as a child the future, you think 1 year. As a teenager, you think ahead 1 or 2 years. As a young adult, you think ahead 4 or 5 years. As a senior, you think about today, and you you think backwards. Because I can't sit here and say, well, 20 years from now, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I can't do that anymore. I want to do that, but I can't do that. And when you get the phone calls, you get these 3 in the morning phone calls, or you get these text messages from, relatives, friends, whatever. Did you hear about so and so? Did you hear about so and so? Did you? I don't like those phone calls. I used to talk to my father-in-law 20 years ago about those phone calls that he used to get, and I thought, oh man, I don't want to get those. Well, I'm now getting them because he's gone. He left us a while ago, and now I'm getting these phone calls. And I just don't like it. Count, enjoy your health, kids. That's all I can say. Yeah. Bobby Atkinson. I watched the JFK movie on the weekend. Buy puts in the year 2038. That's when the records are going to be released. Let's see what else. Coyote. They just postponed the release of those records a couple of years ago, citing national security reasons. So they'll probably not do that again. Yeah, unbelievable. I know that that was a tragic time, of course, 1963, the Kennedy assassination. I was like 8 or 9 at the time, but I do, and I have snippets of memories of that, but I really remember 1968. That year stands out to me. I was 13, and that's when the Chicago, the Democratic National Convention was being held in Chicago at that time to nominate the Democratic nominee for president, and that was Lyndon Johnson saying, "I'm not running anymore." So they needed a new candidate, even though Johnson could have gone for another term, but he likely wouldn't have won it. Nixon, of course, was a Republican nominee, and that was the year that Robert Kennedy got assassinated, and that was the year that Martin Luther King got assassinated, and that was the summer that 35 cities in the United States burned for weeks with riots, African American riots, and race wars and everything else. It was bad. It was really bad. And on national television, we're watching the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, and wasn't it Daley, the mayor of Chicago, brought his every cop in Chicago, holidays canceled, no holidays, you're on full patrol during the convention. And yeah, I mean, it was a bloodbath. It was bad. It was the worst of the worst on national television, watching unarmed peace protesters get the crap kicked out of them by these guys. It was pretty nasty. And you think police brutality is bad now? That was it. That was it on national television in real time, and it was thousands of cases of abuse. Scary, so scary. And I'm 13, and I'm going, thank God I'm not an American, because in 5 years, I could be drafted. And that was, I didn't know at the time, but by 72, 73, the last of the draft was still ongoing. The Vietnam ended obviously shortly after that, but we didn't know. In 68, there was no end in sight. And I was just so grateful that, I wasn't one of those eligible persons to have to do that. Oh my God, what a time. What a time that was. Anyway, what can I say? It was a really sad time. Let's see. What else is going on, everybody? Welcome all. Welcome all. You can this waiting for national interest. There will always be. There will be the conspiracy theorists who want to see this info, no question. Hawkeye, thank you for number 90 thumbs up. Financial, unless that there's a completely unwarranted pop to 1820, I might just roll all 1 or 12s into 10s. The premium notes would be stupid. I'd gladly take $8-10 of book value loss on a drop. Interesting. Home Skillet, 60 years after the fact, national security is called avoiding embarrassing questions. It's true. Cindy B, I lived outside of Detroit in 68. My dad sat on the porch with a rifle. Yikes. Financial mischief, I'd have to really give that one some thought, though. That might be a bit outside of even my comfort zone. Home Skillet, 90 thumbs up as well. Coyote, no body cams, no 24/7 news, not everyone having cell phone. The golden age for cops to go all out with brutality. And there were a lot of independent journalists out there. And but the amazing thing, it was outside the Hilton Hotel, where I think Hubert Humphrey was staying at the Hilton, and the protesters wanted to protest outside of the Hilton and let them know, end this war, make it your policy that if you get elected, you're going to end this war. Because if you did that, he would have been elected. And Nixon was saying, I'm going to end the war. And they fell for it. Everyone fell for Nixon saying, I'm going to end the war. And he didn't. He escalated the war. But the cops were waiting for these students outside the hotel. They were waiting for them. And it was on national television. The whole world is watching. It was what the crowd was yelling. The whole world's watching. And oh man, so many young people, college age and so on, they carried that resentment with them for decades. I mean, don't trust the government, that kind of thing. It was bad. It was so bad, really sad. And of course, there were interfamily disputes, right? You had fathers and grandfathers. You had grandfathers in the Second World War, fathers in the Korea conflict, and then the sons and the daughters, and it tore families apart. It really was sad, and it was not a happy time in so many ways. And yet 67 was the summer of love. They call that the summer of love. 1967 was the year that more American people traveled than ever before in history. It was the number one year of travel, and what did it was a lot of the university age kids traveled to San Francisco at the Summer of Love during the summertime, and then there were pop festivals starting up, and that culminated. And one of the concerts that culminated into was Woodstock, which today still defies all logic. That the original Woodstock Festival in 1969 was as calm as it was. It was miraculous that almost a 500,000 people congregated up there. There have been films made about it, documentaries made about it, and studies made about it. Nothing like it since has happened, because today it is impossible for any kind of a festival like that to take place almost anywhere in America, because it's literally impossible to get permitting. And the security aspect of it today would be so brutal that I would be terrified if anyone I knew would want to go to something like that, because I'd fear for their lives because of violence outside of and at such a festival now. It's a completely different world in which we live. It truly is amazing. Anyway, what can I say? Welcome one, welcome all. Sounds like Kent State. Yeah, yeah. Hunter Thompson got caught up in that Chicago thing. His wife said it was the only time she saw him cry. Karen, number 97, thumbs up. Thank you, Zach. That was 69, Uncle Bruce. Well, Detroit, Chicago was 68. Woodstock was 69. Cindy B, yes, Kent State was a tragedy. I think that was 70 or 71. Fort Ed in Ohio. Is that the National Guard thing? That was the National Guard thing. Look at Woodstock 99. Was a complete disaster compared to that was a total disaster. That was not. They called it a Woodstock 2, but it was nothing like it whatsoever. Gayoti, yes, homeskill. Zach, because all those kids were high on pot. Well, there was that and many other substances in Woodstock and Monterey Pop Festival and many other festivals. Spare would love if the police in Germany finally get body cams. Once I was drunk, I only kicked into an iron trash can, and suddenly police officer was throwing me on the ground with a punch in the face. Says Spare. Oh, Splair, you troublemaker, you. Be careful, my friend. Cindy, I went to Woodstock 94. What a mess that was. Splair, and for real, I was only mad about it that not getting the last subway, so the officer had no clear reason for it. Man, Ragioti, far out, man. M. Grant, who knew Splair was a thug? Oh, yeah, well, you should see him. The guy's like 6'8". 240 pounds. The guy's a monster. I mean, you can see the picture. You can see the picture right there. You can see. Look. You see the avatar. You see how huge he is. I was just a little guy behind him. I was terrified. I love you, Splair. Splair and I had a wonderful visit in Amsterdam. It was fantastic. It was 4 years ago. There was no provocation. Unbelievable. It's not fair, my friend. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not right. Man, we're up 42 on the Dow. We have 13 minutes left to go. We're up 5 points on the S&P. We're down 1.7 on NASDAQ. It's a nothing burger day. It really is. It's just a nothing burger day. Yep. DQ now, Splair. Trash cans have rights. God, buddy. I'm picturing Splair lifting weights in a prison yard, like doing bench presses, but the weights on the bar are bagels. Hector, our history defines us. It's sad, isn't it? Yeah, it is unbelievable. Yeah, oh man, I remember when I was 15, 16, 17, I going to high school in those days, and I was was not an out front kind of guy. I was laid back, and I was more of an observer of people than an instigator of anything. And I was shocked at how radical some of the students started to become in high school. And this would be 69 to 74, I guess, 74, 75. That was a time that it's hard to describe in a way, because of course from my angle of it as a teenager, I wasn't a full-grown adult with a job and children and a mortgage and the thing. My father was that person, and so I was really an observer of life growing up pretty quick, but very grateful that I was where I was in the world, being in Canada, in Ontario, not in Michigan or Ohio, just across the lake on the other side of those Great Lakes. I wasn't down there, so I didn't have to worry about the possibility of a draft situation or anything like that. Unbelievable. Whew, what can I say? Police are heavily militarized now, aren't they? It's scary. I too am peaceful, and I visit with you. That was really great, especially because I could get a better picture with you from you because I was thinking of this, wondering if this is real. Yeah, he and I, we had a very pleasant visit, and it was great. I was just so happy he came by train to come up there and visit with me, and we got to enjoy our company. And yeah, I swear, you've come a long way, my man. You have come a long way since back then. Fantastic. You're on your way, my friend. GameStop, 1863, down 7 cents. We're off 7 cents. SoFi down 2. Tesla down 304. We have 10 minutes left in our session today, and then we're done. Indeed. Oh boy. I still remember the actual morning in Toronto. I was in college at the time, and the morning that Saigon fell, when Saigon fell, I remember that morning, and only because I saw the headlines in the papers that Saigon had fallen, that the Vietnam War was over, and the South Vietnamese government had surrendered, and that the North was now, Vietnam was now one country under the North control. And I uh, uh, remember how, wow, it's that had been, that Vietnam story had been in my face from when I was what from like 1965 ish. I began to hear about it, and 66, 67, it was the news. And I was 10 years old when I started getting bombarded on every newscast, national newscast, about Vietnam, 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 Vietnam. And the only break we got from the Vietnam story was during Nixon's Watergate nightmare, which was um, uh, shortly before. But yeah, unbelievable. And then, of course, the next 2 years, we heard about all the boat people, the Vietnamese trying to get out, still trying to get out, years after the fact, getting out of what was South Vietnam to anywhere, mainly the Philippines, and then getting into Canada, getting into USA and other countries, and rebuilding their lives. I remember that story, but it would fade over time. It would just go down the headlines, down, down. It was no longer the big story anymore. Anyway, yeah. Uh, yes, someday we'll see again. Yes. Oh, looking forward to fantastic comments. We're down to 7 minutes, kids. 7 minutes, and this day is done. Monday will be finished, and we'll see what happens tomorrow with Jay Powell when he begins to speak. What you're going to get between now and tomorrow is speculation of what he's going to say and how he's going to say it. And then we're going to have speculation on what he said and what he meant, what he said. And did he say what he said or what he meant? Did he mean something else? We're going to get 2 days of this bullshit. It's just going to be just a crap show. Sorry to say, but a crap show. Ugh. And we'll have to tolerate it until Thursday. And then, of course, the unemployment reports come out and stuff. So, yep, it's one of those weeks. Tesla 194. We've backed off from what was it, 214 a little while ago, all the way now to 194. Low today of 192, and we did hit 180 something last week, as you all know. We did touch it for a brief moment, but I guess we had 216, even 217 prices for a while last 2 weeks ago on Tesla. So we've given up some ground, but we've had it had been a big run up and then a top, and now a little pullback. We'll see what this is about. Will there be more bad news coming out of Tesla, or more less than enthusiastically great news out of Tesla? Maybe. We'll see. We're up 9.6 on the Dow Jones. We're going nowhere. It's a nothing burger day. There we are. I'm just looking at the my big SI pad here to see what if I can get Tesla to pop up here. A 3-month chart would be nice. There you go. And let's see if I go to there. If I push that button, what happens? Well, I get an advanced chart. Ooh, I get an advanced chart. The advanced chart is, yeah, okay, whatever. It's not that exciting. It just shows the stock having gone up and now sort of topping a little bit. That's what it's doing. Okay, whatever. Welcome one, welcome all to the party today. Glad to have you here, and I hope this week will be a good one for you. 9th week of protests in Israel over legal system overhaul undertaken by far-right Netanyahu government. There are protests in the street, and Beach Boy is out there. That is an absolute nightmare happening over there. Scary stuff. And you got to wonder, how long will that government hang on before it collapses? And they have another election in Israel. I do not know. Boy, what can I say? Okay, what else is going on? What nothing burger? Yuck for everyone but option writer, says Nick Demorier. Nick is right. Hector, tumultuous times in the late 60s, early 70s, Quebec separatism, the Irish troubles with the Britain, Dublin, and London area. Remember Patty Hearst? Don't know if you guys if any of you know that story, the Patty Hearst story. That was in the news for years. The Symbionese Liberation Army, and then the Red, what was it? The Red Brigade in Germany, and then there was, there was still mega tensions between the United States and the Russians because of the Berlin Wall and the Soviet Union and America. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. And then in '79, the Iran crisis showed up. I mean, just that one just blew everything away. Unbelievable. Splitter, it looks like I've made an interesting decision. Bought back at 335 my July 19 call and changed into 1875 August at 385. Giddy up. At least GameStop drop goes on. There it is, 1861 down 9. Splitter, there you go, buddy. DQ Reagan smash. Amazing times. I mean, Reagan tried to run for president, I think, once or twice before, and he almost unseated Ford to get the nomination. After Ford's first term, Reagan tried to replace him as the Republican nominee, but he lost to Ford. Ford ran against Carter. Carter won, and then Reagan won the nomination the next time, beat Carter to become president. And by the time Ronnie became pres, he was in his 70s already, and people were wondering, aren't you a little old for this? Now we have Mr. Biden in office at 80. What can I say? Obama was a breath of fresh air, a guy in his 50s that could jog up the stairs on Air Force One at least, and was playing basketball hoops with Secret Service. At least the guy was in shape. But what are you going to do? It is what it is. Yeah, I remember Patty Hearst, the father, owned those newspapers. Yeah, Jen and I and Jen Jr., we went to San Simeon in California. That's along the coast, just south, 100 plus miles south or more from Frisco and from Monterey, where they play Pebble Beach. On the coast is San Simeon Estate, and it's a house on a hill. It's a castle on a hill with multiple buildings. What a place! It was all donated to, I believe, the state of California. It is now a state park, and they have tours of the estate that you pay to use, and San Simeon sort of pays for itself. The upkeep of the place is paid for by the people who go to see it, and they have they have guided tours, and worth a visit. Absolutely worth a visit. This is a place that was the cutting edge. It was, apart from the White House, I would say San Simeon, the White House, and 10 Downing Street, maybe Moscow would be connected to the world. I would have to say more than Moscow at that time. So Mr. Hearst, the actual owner of all these newspapers, the world news came by wire right to that estate in California. And if you wanted to know what's going on, just talk to Mr. Hearst. He has all the headlines. That's unbelievable. Christina, been crossing my arms for weeks now, still holding my Tesla 160s. Right on. Home skill. I'll never forget how quickly the Iran hostage crisis came to an end when Reagan won. Yeah, that was almost over on the day of inauguration because the Iranians were terrified of Ronnie Reagan. They were terrified. This guy could drop the bomb on us. This guy is that loony. We have no idea. And he was not talking that down. He basically said to them, they don't want to negotiate. Like they asked Ronald Reagan, President-elect Ronald Reagan, what are your negotiating strategies going to be with the Iranians? And he said, there won't be no negotiations with the Iranians. I won't be negotiating with them. The White House right now is negotiating with them. The State Department, other countries, Algeria, they're all involved in getting the hostages out. They were all negotiating with Iran. And Reagan is going, when I'm president, the minute I take over, there'll be no discussions. And the Iranians are going, oh, geez, what is he going to do? And aircraft carriers were off the coast and in the various seas, and nobody wanted to go there. And so the hostages were released. The moment he swore in, they were let out, just to rub it into Jimmy Carter's eyes. There you go. Anyway, DQ says, I hear you, Christina. I got 155s on these Teslas. Zach, hear ye, sir. Lawrence rings a lot of Bellington. We're done. Thank you, Lara, for hitting the bells. We're done for the day. Iran-Contra, that was later. Zach, Hearst Castle is quite a sight to behold. Worth a visit for sure. Then head over to Highway 101 and stay at the Madonna Inn. Cindy B. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. There you go. Thanks, Larry. Says Splair, you bet. Thank you, Larry, for hitting those bells. We're up 42 points on the end of the day for the Dow. 2-point gain on the S&P, 13-point loss on NASDAQ. A mixed finish, kind of what I suspected all along. A nothing burger day with Powell speaking tomorrow. We're not going to get much today on that. So there'll be lots of speculation tomorrow. What does he mean by what he says? And what about the color of his tie and how he tied it? Is that something about what's going to happen? Yep. Splair, have a good one, my friend. Enjoy your evening. Always a pleasure seeing you, my man. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Take care. You betcha. All right, folks, there it is. Yes, the 70s and the 80s. Oh, what a time. Oh, what a time. And then MTV came out in 84. MTV. Oh, my gosh. You got to love that. Cable television with all those channels exploded in the 80s. But back in the 60s, 70s, we only had like 4 or 5 stations. By the 80s, we had hundreds of stations. Oh, my gosh. Neat, says Hector. Oh yeah, those were times. Those were times. And then we heard something about personal computers were coming. There's something about personal computers that were coming out, and one day everyone will have one at their desk at work, and eventually you will all have one in your homes. And they predicted this in the 60s and the 70s. They were predicting that one day you'll have machines at home where you can look up movie listings on a screen rather than get the paper and open the newspaper. Paper editors are going, you got to be kidding me. Classified ads, how are you ever going to replace classified ads in the newspaper? I ask you. Wow. I remember in college, my first year of college, it was 1974-5, I think it was, 74-5, 75, 76, 76, 77. Yeah, 74, 75. In the fall of 74, I believe it was, I had a job for, I think, 2 weeks at the Globe and Mail newspaper in Toronto in the from 5 o'clock until 8 o'clock. And I did this job for like Monday to Thursdays, I think it was, phoning people at home to try to get them to buy a subscription to the Globe and Mail. Selling newspaper subscriptions in 74 still. Yeah, that's gone by way of the dodo bird. Oh my gosh, unbelievable. Anyway, uh, Powell better show up wearing a red shag cape. That's all I have to say, says DQ. Cindy, I had my second child in 81. MTV was great for midnight feedings. Drew, 106 thumbs up. Better late than never. Zach, Van Halen, Jump. First video I ever saw. I was very confused why the woman singing was so ugly, but she sure could jump, though. Okay, folks. Great show today, Uncle Bruce. Uncle Bruce, it was a good day, too. Selling cover calls, taking premiums, and once stocks run up, if they do, buy some puts on them, make money both ways. 3 ways if we do cash secured puts. Wow. Way to go, pal. DQ, Zach, David. Is she David Roth? Karen, Brave New World came true. Zach, exactly. George, Zach, second best frontman, only to Mick J. Bobby, Happy Trails Bagelheads, OBS, Coyote, Zach G, laughing. Yeah, I remember Much Music. Well, the MTV, and then in Canada, Much Music showed up. Much Music. And they played videos. Unbelievable. I thought, wow, look at that. They're playing videos like the Beatles used to make. The Beatles made videos rather than go on tour, and they would send these films of their songs to Ed Sullivan, and Ed Sullivan would play these Beatle vignettes, these films for the audience. That would be his special guest in 1968 would be the Beatles, and it would be playing Singing Rain or Strawberry Fields Forever. The Beatles were the first to make videos. Yeah, and then eventually they made a network about it. Yes, video killed the radio star. Have a good night, y'all. Walk like an Egyptian now, says the Great Savage. Home skill. Hasta luego, bagelers. Indeed. Thank you all for joining me this evening. Join me tomorrow morning, first thing, around 8 o'clock Eastern time for the trade alert for Gold Bagel members. And at 8:30, we'll start the show off 1 hour before the opening and see what's going on. See what's happening. What are we going to talk about? I think I know. I think I have a pretty good idea what we're going to be talking about tomorrow and the day after that. Let's see if we get you guys richer than you are today. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself. Stay healthy. And give your loved ones extra hugs. You never know when it's the last time. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, Beatles made films well before video existed. MTV times were great before YouTube, but not as good as Uncle Bruce times. Thank you, Splair. Actor, this show was time in a bottle. Neat. Zach, ready for the big red rug man tomorrow. Go rug man, Splair. Neat. All right, guys, take care. Thanks, Larry, Splair, Zach, Hector, Home Skillet, Credit Savage, Coyote, Bobby, Hubby, George Sebastian, Karen, DQ, Drew, Cindy B, thank you, all of you who have been here, Zeta State, Zach, Christina Lorraine, who else is here today? Nick DeMaurier is here. Thank you all so much. Karen, thank you for your comments. M. Grant, who else? Splair, of course. Zach. I don't want to double myself. Karen, of course. Fabulous, guys. Thank you. Financial Mischief. Have a great evening. We'll catch you tomorrow. Mirko, you take care. Hector, thanks. Splair. George. The 80s when MTV played music. That's right. They used to play music. It's incredible. They don't do that anymore. Too much yapping. All right, guys. See you later. Bye for now.